What are the average returns for a 401k, you might ask? I always wondered this, especially when before I retired. How's my investments, how are my returns on them? How are they doing compared to what is average, what is normal? Now, a lot of this obviously will depend on how you have it allocated. Mine, for the most part, have been anywhere between 60 and 70% stocks and 30 and 40% bonds ever since I started investing. Never was a very risky investor. So right now it's closer to much closer, actually, a little below 60-40 stocks to bonds. I got all this information from Investopedia. So guys, how have your returns been on your 401ks, your IRAs, whatever, the last, let's say, 5 years? How they doing? Mine's not too bad. So I'll get to the average returns on the 401k, but first, here are 6 stats from 401ks. Did you know that the target date funds are the most popular choice for 401ks? I still have a portion of my savings, of my 401k investments in target date funds. What I did before I retired was, I set it for, I had some as like 2020 target dates. I had some as 2025. I also had some as 2030 target date funds, because what you can do, guys, is if you're not totally, good about your knowledge about stocks, about investing, go target dates. They take a whole broad range of companies by using index funds. So if you want to get more conservative, go more to your target retirement date. If you want to get more risky or more non-conservative, push it out. Just because you plan on retiring at, say, 2030 doesn't mean you have to have 2030 date retirement target dates. You could have a 2045 if you want to have more stocks to bonds. So I think they're pretty good, especially if you don't feel comfortable about your knowledge about the stock market, all that stuff. Target date funds, the most popular funds in 401ks. Number 2, the average balance in 2024 for your 401ks was $132,000. The median 401k balance in 2024 was only $35,000. Makes sense, right? Because you're talking average, you're talking people that could invest. They could have millions and millions of dollars in their 401k. So obviously that's going to boost the average up, right? So the median, it's a better number. Smack dab in the middle. Smack dab, baby. Number 4. Here are some stats for ages. Age 25 to 34, the average 401k balance is $38,000. The median, right dab, smack dab in the middle, is $15,000. Age is 35 to 44, average is $91,000. Median, $35,000. Ages 45 to 54. Average, $169,000. Median, $61,000. Ages 55 to 64. The average 401k balance, $245,000. The median, $88,000. Again, it makes sense because you got those high earners that are boosting that average way up. 65 plus, average $273,000. Median, $89,000. So men, what is the average 401k balance for men? $157,000. Median, only $42,000. Women, average $112,000. Median, $31,000. Here's point number 5 about 401ks. 95% of 401k participants, now this is per Vanguard, didn't change how they were invested in their account. They are going for a long-term strategy. This is per Vanguard. 95%. That's a big, dare I say, huge fighter jet number. I wouldn't have expected that high. I mean, I'm pretty much a buy and hold kind of guy. I don't change my strategies very much at all. The only thing I've done since I've been retired is I took one of my 401ks and turned it into an IRA. 95% don't really mess around with the way they're allocated, the way the different funds they have. That's a pretty high number. Okay, guys, so here are the average returns of 401ks. Number one, per Vanguard, the 2023 average return for 401ks was 18.1%. Wow. Now, again, this really depends on how you are allocated. You know, stocks have been great, right? The last couple of years, stocks have been great. So if you are allocated, let's say 80-20, stocks to bonds, yeah, I bet you did better than that average, right? If you were like me, 60-40, didn't do as good as that. But I'm not complaining. I am pretty much a risk averse, especially the older I get. I'm pretty much a risk averse investor. I will let those big gains go so I don't have to take big losses. I don't like this. I like more of this. All right? You could be different. You could be totally comfortable. I know people that are 70 years old that are 90% in stocks. I can't do that. I could never do that. Not even when I was like 38 years old. I didn't feel comfortable with that. Here's the second part about returns. And I have two more of these. From 2018 to 2023, the average return for a 401k was 9.7%. Okay, this is for 5 years, going back to 2018. Okay, I mean, you know, you had some downs in those years. We're talking 5 years. We're not just talking 2 years back. So 9.7% average return. All right, I was lower than that. Obviously, you had the big dip of 2022. Man, that took my returns way down. I mean, that was right after I retired. So I am not close to that 9.7% average return. Now, obviously, after the dip of 2020 or 2022, I had a great 2023. So it brought a lot of those returns back up again. And here is the third point regarding returns. Over the last 20 years, the average return of 401ks was between 5 and 8%. Okay. So yeah, not bad, right? Not bad. 5 to 8%. And again, all of this depends on what choices you made in your 401ks. Are you heavy stocks? Are you heavy bonds? Are you REITs? Are you international stocks? You know, so much of that depends on how you are allocated, what funds you have chosen, the percentage of those funds in the way that you're invested. So guys, I've always said, I mean, I know a lot of you, maybe not a lot, some of you are kind of anti-stock market. You gotta take on some risk to get a decent amount of gains in your portfolio, guys. You just do. Now, you could put everything in like, I don't know, 10-year treasury bills and get a consistent return. But if you're getting 4% on those and inflation, let's say is 6%, yeah, you're still losing money. So stock market, you know, over, let's say the last 30 years, stocks have averaged around a 10% return. Now, am I saying go 100% stocks? No, I've never come close. I think the closest I was maybe 72% stocks back when I was a lot younger. So it's up to you guys. So much of this depends on how you're allocated, the funds you choose. So there you go. There's the average return on 401ks. In some cases, back 20 years. And as always, from the lovely high desert and my favorite band of all time, we got this.